Hearing focused exclusively on Nigeria.
Today's sitting of the U.S. Congress Subcommittee on Africa gave an opportunity to discuss the several attacks by the terrorist groups in different communities in Nigeria.
I want to thank our distinguished witnesses for being here today to bring light and scrutiny to this unfolding religious freedom catastrophe and to proffer ways to mitigate and to end the violence and the hate.
The most touching ones are from the Middle Belt, where a Catholic bishop narrates the attacks by terrorist groups.
Thousands more have been displaced, some adopted or subjected, with entire villages razed and churches destroyed. My own village of Amadana in Gwe West local government was attacked and several of my relatives killed on May 22nd, 2025. An entire convent of Reverend Sisters of the Clarissia Missionary was displaced, along with the local Catholic parish. Within the days following that attack, nearby villages like Naka also witnessed attacks. In fact, on the 24th May 2025, one of my priests, Father Solomon Atongu, was shot and left to die in the pool of his blood.
The committee acknowledges that it's not only Christians that are under attack, as even the Muslim community is not spared.
Nigeria is facing multiple different security challenges in various parts of the country, including violent extremist groups in the northeast, criminal banditry in the northwest, and across the country, farmer-herder conflict in the Middle Belt, and other intercommunal violence in central and northern regions. Several factors are driving these conflicts. Yes, ethnicity and religion play a role in some cases, but other dynamics like poor governance, resource competition, climate change, and population pressures are important drivers that need to be addressed.
The lack of response has created an atmosphere of impunity where Christians continue to live in constant threat and fear.
In his testimony to the committee, Jonathan Pratt, former U.S. ambassador to Djibouti, describes the situation as complex, insisting on a more focused approach to the issues.
Terrorists, separatists, bandits, and criminal militias in Nigeria wreak havoc throughout the country, with ongoing attacks often deliberately targeting Christian communities. In addition to the violent Islamic extremism and banditry experienced in Nigeria's Middle Belt, there has been a surge in violent attacks across northern Nigeria by violent extremist organizations like ISIS West Africa, ISIS Sahel, Boko Haram, Jainim, and Al-Qaeda affiliate Ansaru, and Lakurawa. The ongoing violence is a problem of prioritization for the government of Nigeria. Although its military and police are engaged and taking significant losses in their counterterrorism efforts in the Northeast, the Nigerian government has not done enough to effectively combat violence in the Middle Belt.
This is certainly not a good time for Nigeria, but some of the members of Congress say they are optimistic on the way forward for the country.
Aid is important, and this should be for the victims of Fulani herder militia attacks, and this should be distributed through trusted local providers, including through the churches on the ground that are currently one of the main aid providers to the survivors of these attacks. And it's just, again, tragic and ironic that productive farmers now need food aid since they have been driven from their Middle Belt farms. 4, sanctions against those aiding, abetting, and granting impunity to the Fulani herding militias, including those sanctions should include high-level officials in the criminal justice system and the military. The U.S. should gather intelligence regarding official responses to the Fulani herder militias and review possible visa and Magnitsky sanctions for those aiding and abetting. The Fulani warlords' names are known or knowable. Out of all the, I think it's important to understand that out of all the violent attacks by Fulani herder militias, there have been only a few arrests.
I expect, as we're cooperating with the government of Nigeria on what those tools will be, if there is specific U.S. government programs or assistance that will require a waiver, and through agreement in our cooperative relationship with the government of Nigeria on what will be effective and successful, that we may need to seek waivers for some programs.
Strengthening the military and reforming the institutional weaknesses in Nigeria will indeed serve as a guarantee to the U.S. Congress and the government that Nigeria is serious about tackling the issue of insecurity, albeit Nigeria needs help.
And still on the U.S. Congress public hearing today in Washington, D.C., one of the witnesses, who is a director and senior fellow of the African Program Center for Strategic and International Studies, Oge Onubogo, also advised on actions to be taken by the U.S. government to help tackle violent extremism in Nigeria. She has asked the U.S. government to engage deeply with communities across Nigeria to avoid selective intervention and address the concerns of Nigerians. She also argues that unilateral military action by the U.S. could endanger Christians and worsen the division along religious lines.
First, to the United States government. It's important to engage deeply and broadly with communities across Nigeria. The U.S. can play a constructive role, but it must avoid selective intervention and address the concerns of all Nigerians across all religions to prevent worsening sectarian divisions. Two, it's important to rethink reactive quick-win actions that may seem beneficial to Nigerians, but could have larger and far-reaching negative impacts. If the Trump administration proceeds with unilateral military action in Nigeria, it could endanger the Christians it aims to protect and worsens divisions along religious lines. Now, recommendations for the Nigerian government. It is important to appoint a Nigerian ambassador to the United States to improve its international engagement and manage narratives about its security realities. It's critical for President Tinubu to appoint a capable Nigerian ambassador to the U.S., as I also recommended in my testimony in March. Second, the Nigerian government needs to make accountability of both perpetrators and of the authorities central to the response. Nigerian citizens need justice, as criminality in the Middle Belt has increased due to impunity. The narrative of Christian genocide has gained traction because of years of mass killings without accountability, leaving many faith communities feeling abandoned. Third, Nigerian government needs to get serious about police reform. Nigeria's single federalized police force struggles to address the country's complex security challenges.